Here we have the Audi A1. The skeptics watching this video will say it's a Volkswagen Polo in a very expensive dress. Indeed, it is expensive. It starts from just over 25,000 euro, but this model in the video is over 40 grand. However, you don't have to go near the options list like a giddy 12-year-old who's just made their confirmation and has received a lot of white envelopes. Is it a decent, compact city car in its own right, with, you know, an Audi badge in the front and some nicer touches inside? And is it worth the premium over some of the cheaper but similar size competitors? We're going to find out in this video, so hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Oh, and today's video has the added pressure of a live studio audience as well. One piece of criticism Audi have come in for in the last recent while is their badging system. This one says 30 TFSI, and basically the range from numbers, you might see a 30, a 35, a 40, a 50 and above. It's the kilowatt range of an engine. It doesn't give you the exact output, but it's somewhere in there. So now you know. Leave a comment below if you reckon some of the city cars are getting quite a bit bigger over the years. This one certainly feels like a bit of a jump ahead of the Audi A1, although apparently it's actually narrower. The boot, however, is bigger. It's about 45 litres bigger than the old model. There's a first aid kit, a couple of little hooks here for holding shopping, but nothing too fancy. You can lift this parcel area and drop it down a little bit to give yourself a deeper boot in here. And yes, the rear seats do fold forward, giving you a much bigger boot space. And in fact, under here, there's even somewhere for you to put the parcel shelf. So nice job there, Audi. How's lads? I'm just going to take a look at the back of the car now. It'll only take a minute. Do you want to have a little look? Just real quick. Subscribe to the channel maybe. Not too bad back here. There's decent head height, couple of lights for people, LED ones that they can control themselves. That's with the front driver's seat fairly far back, and I still got reasonable leg room. A couple of pocket storage areas here. There is no middle armrest, no USB charging in the back. There's two ISOFIX seats though. Oh, and it's an Audi, so it's a bit posh. So there's little coat hangers here at the back of your sporting jackets. If you go for the optional Bang & Olufsen sound system upgrade, it's actually about 900 quid. You get speakers right beside your ears in the back of the car. Now you'll get a toddler in there with the front passenger seat pushed a little bit forward. If they're a little bit older and their legs aren't as short as ET, well then with the driver's seat back a bit, they might struggle for leg room. But you know, they're only kids. They moan anyway, so just put up with it. Up front is good. You do get an old-fashioned handbrake, which again, at the price, really. There is wireless charging if you go for certain options on your mobile phone. There's a 12-volt charger and USB and USB-C up the front, so they're future-proofing. If you go for the optional MMI Navigation Plus, you get more stuff that the screen will do. It doesn't have the haptics, the clicky feel that you get on the screen that you'll get in the Audi A6 and the A7, but come on. But it is a nice size screen, touch screen. Yes, it gets all those smudges. This one doesn't have gesture control, and all Audi A1s will get a virtual cockpit in the driver's instruments display. If you go for the optional bigger nav and screen, you'll get that in there as well. But it does have Android and Apple CarPlay, so you'll be able to use the maps on your phone as well and save yourself a lot of money. S-Line models get the lovely perforated steering wheel. It's chunky, it feels good. And again, if you go for the S-Line pack, you get these nice extra bolsters on the side of the seat. They're very supportive, and yeah, it's a comfortable place to be, and it's nice and low down, and it feels sporty and it feels good. It'll make you feel better about yourself. But you know, there's lots of things they haven't skimped on. The pedals in the car feel good. They're that kind of brushed aluminium feel, and the qualities of the plastics are good. Here though, it's nasty, scratchy plastic. It's gonna feel not great when you're working on your farmer's tan. In Ireland, you do actually get an armrest as standard in the A1. That's a pretty cool feature.
SGR
Other fun things you can do with your A1 is you can choose a black roof, which contrasts with the rest of the colour of the car then. Probably something they've noticed Mini and the likes doing, but it adds the idea that it's a fun car. So you get 3 different engine options: 116 brake horsepower, 150 brake horsepower, and a Golf GTI, Polo GTI certainly threatening 200 brake horsepower, 2-litre petrol option in the A1. Now the one I'm driving is a 3-cylinder engine, and that's the way a lot of small engine cars are going these days. They're better for emissions, WLTP, all that stuff. A lot of them suffer from, when you try and accelerate, you get this horrible sound. Audi have done a fairly good job of disguising the 3-cylinder sound of the car. So yes, there are times when you hear it, but more often than not you don't. So I'm impressed in that regard. Whether it's sound insulation or what has caused that to happen, I don't know. But it works. It doesn't sound as strained as a lot of 3-cylinder engined cars can at times. That said, when you're sitting on a motorway at doing, somewhere between 100 and 120 kilometers per hour type speeds, there's a good deal of tire noise off the car, so it doesn't feel as insulated as, let's say, an Audi Q3, which you can watch a review video for up there right now. Steering is direct, it's light, as it should be for a car like this. It's predominantly going to be used for driving around cities, but it's got a sporty feel on it, so you'll still feel like you're involved with the drive of the car. There's an automatic DSG option which you can go for. Obviously that's going to push up the price. The 6-speed gearbox, it's nice and direct-ish. There's a little bit of give in the gear shifter that you just don't really get from Audi usually, so not sure what that's about. On those different engine options, if you go for the 116 brake horsepower, it's not the biggest car in the world, so you might think that's not a huge amount. Is a 3-cylinder engine in an Audi that costs 40 grand a bit of madness? Well, yes it is, but like I said, you don't need to go as heavy-handed on the options list. The 116 brake horsepower engine, it's actually fine. There's plenty of power. It's not particularly sluggish on things like motorways for overtaking. Certainly around city driving, it's fine. I mean, it would be lovely to have the 200 brake horsepower version of this car. It would be a pocket rocket, but there's no actual need to do it. And sure, where would you be going as fast as that anyway? This big gas B pillar here kind of blocks your view sometimes if you're just checking over your shoulder for overtaking. This car doesn't have blind spot in the wing mirrors, so you can't rely on that. You do actually have to crank your neck. Imagine. You can hear it a little bit there now. Sounds a bit 3-cylindery, but turn her into the corners. She's nice and tight. There's no body roll from it. It's got a sporty feel, there is no doubt. And obviously this is the S-Line model. It's got stiffer suspension and stuff. It's going to be a little bit harsher because you're riding on bigger alloy wheels. Over 1,500 kilometers this car has done about 43 miles per gallon, 43.8 to be exact. Let me save you the hassle and change the units to litres per 100 kilometers, and that is 6.5 litres per 100 kilometers. So you can see there the trade-off in a good way. Is there a trade-on of having a 3-cylinder engine because you're going to use less fuel. Audi have put an Isofix seat in the front passenger seat, so you can turn off your airbag, put an infant, small child in an Isofix seat in the front of the car, so you can actually bring 3 Isofix seats around in this car. Don't know where you'll put the second adult, because who the hell looks after 3 kids on their own, but you can put 3 seats in the car. So my advice would be, go for the 116 brake horsepower engine, 3-cylinder. Can't believe I'm saying that, but it makes sense. S-Line exterior and interior if you can, and stay away from the options list. If you do that, then you're going to get a nice Audi. If you go anywhere crazy in terms of engines and options,
it's too expensive. It doesn't make sense. So thank you for watching. I hope you've learned a thing or two about the Audi A1. If you've got a comment or a question, please leave one. Let me know. Would you prefer to pay a little bit extra, although you know underneath you can get cheaper options? Or would you go, nah, I can't justify the price? As always, your subscription to this channel is most welcome, and I would love if you could subscribe to it if you haven't done so yet. Like the video if you've enjoyed watching this Audi A1 review, and if you've got a question, leave one.